Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from anywhere from the world that you are joining this another Fabric Coffee session at Microsoft Fabric Cafe. My name is Merdat, the community lead of Microsoft Fabric Cafe. I'm super excited to have you here today. So, have you grabbed your coffee or drink? Right. So, just let me know where you are connecting from, and so without any wasting time, let me just jump into my slides and see what we have for today. So today, 31st of August, we had a fantastic month in August. Actually, fantastic sessions there, and for today, we will have Mohammed Adnan, and at the end of session, of course, we will have the riddles and prizes, and let's see who are going to be our Microsoft exam voucher winners. So, an introduction to Microsoft Learn community. Really, I think everyone now knows Microsoft Learn, and which is the richest place for learning the things about Microsoft products, Microsoft technologies, and whatever that is related to the Microsoft platform, and in Azure platform, of course. And we've also got the learning rooms in Microsoft Learn community that you can just join them, and based on your interest, there are based on the products, or even based on a specific language. Of course, you can just find the room that is right for you from the link below, from aka.ms/learning rooms. From there, you can just find your learning room, especially for Microsoft Fabric Cafe, which is a Microsoft Learn community, as you know. And we are just focusing on Microsoft Fabric. So we provide learning and support to Fabric users in all levels, from beginner to advanced. And it is, of course, a forum for everyone to learn, share, and grow skills together. In our cafe, you can just enjoy drinking your coffee and learn Microsoft Fabric. So, and here are the social information for on YouTube, LinkedIn, and also a link for joining Microsoft Learning Room of Microsoft Fabric Cafe, of course. And then we can just chat more, and in the Microsoft Learning Rooms, you can reach out to your peers, reach out to the experts, and you can just ask your questions if there's any, or if you gained any experience, you can share it with others, right? So there's a code of conduct in our cafe. Of course, everyone is going to adhere to them, but respectful, collaborative, just embrace diversity. Let's stay professional and act with integrity, and let's use responsibly all of the assets that we have in our cafe. And if there is any issue, just please report to us. Thank you very much. And for August, as I mentioned, we had fantastic sessions with Armando, Brian, Reza, Kevin, and last week with Vinod. And today we have Mohammed Adnan. And for September, we've got 4 amazing sessions. And the registration links are already announced in our LinkedIn, and you can just register there, and stay tuned for upcoming sessions. So every Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific time, we have a Fabric Coffee session at Microsoft Fabric Cafe. And for today, we have Mohammed. Let me add Mohammed to the stage. Hey, Mohammed, how's it going?
Hello. Yeah, doing good. How about you?
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for asking. I'm also good. It is 8 a.m. on my side. I'm super
Yeah.
excited. I grabbed my coffee.
Yeah, this is 8:30 p.m. so
Yeah,
it's not
awesome. And
required at the
oh,
time.
thank you very much. It is a Saturday in your side,
Yeah,
uh, so 8:30 p.m. Yeah, thank you for making your time
yeah.
and making yourself available for this amazing session. Mohammed, how often do you use Microsoft Learn, or uh, what is its usage for you?
Almost every day I use Microsoft Learn website because if I need to learn something new, I can grab over there. Or if I need to revise something, then I can also check over there for any updates on a particular feature in Fabric.
Of course, and then it is, everyone knows it is
Yeah,
it is the reference for all tech guys.
yeah,
If you want to just confirm something, just go to the Microsoft Learn, find your documentation. It is the
yeah.
latest one. If there's any issue, of course, it is going to be reported. But yeah, I don't want to waste your time, guys. I know I talk a lot, so I just hand it over to Muhammad. I will be stay at this stage with Muhammad. If there is any question, Muhammad will just have some pauses during his presentation,
Sure.
so we can just ask the questions from Muhammad, and just stay tuned for the end of the session. We will have the riddles and prizes. So Muhammad just, I think, designed some amazing riddles for us. So I'm gonna just add your uh, slide to the
Screen.
stage. So Muhammad, stage is yours, and guys, feel free to learn from Muhammad.
All right. Thank you so much for introduction and the quick introduction about what you are doing at this moment. It's really good whatever you are doing is so far. And for the audience, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Those who are connecting from different parts of the world. Hope you are doing great. Today, we are going to talk about Microsoft Fabric data security in Fabric OneLake. So, security is usually an important part. Wherever we have a data, security is an important key. So we'll talk about that in detail, mostly theoretical part, and somewhat I will cover try to the practical one as well. So a little bit about myself. So I am a founder of Tech 18, which is you can see it on my YouTube channel as well, and doing a consulting work over there. And I'm the author of the book "I Does Not Rest Alone," and I'm Microsoft MVP and MCT as well. Overall, I have like 17 plus of experience in various Microsoft technologies. From the past 8 years almost, I'm doing in Power BI, Power Platform, and now recently with Microsoft Fabric. So agenda for today is introduction of Fabric and Lakehouse. I know you guys are aware of that, but here to set the context, it is required. So that's the reason I'm covering that. And then how you can secure your data in Microsoft Fabric. So finally, we'll have some Q&As and riddles, and then we'll close the session after that. All right. So what is Microsoft Fabric? Microsoft Fabric is a unified data platform. So where every people in the organizations, like every technology people, those who are data engineer, data scientists, or data analysts, business analysts, everybody can connect to the same workspace, to the same environment. That's a unified platform. So we have a unified SaaS experience. We have unified governance. We have unified business models, and also the security plus compute storage. So that's one of the beauty. As you can see it on the screen, we have totally 7 workloads like data factory, data engineering, data science, data warehouse, and real-time intelligence, Power BI, and data activator. All of these things are now comes under one umbrella. And this is backed by 3 things, which is AI, that's Copilot. So Microsoft is now introducing every aspect of the fabric, the Copilot. You need to catch up that as well because that is going to have a good future in coming days. And everything whatever we do it in fabric, everything resides on one leg. So we're going to talk about that as well. And for the security point of view, everything is covered by Microsoft Purview here. So moving on. So this is the thing what we have the 7 workloads, data factory, what is the use case of that. So data factory is basically for integration, data integration kind of thing. And Power BI basically where you can do your business analytics sides. I'm not going to cover much depth here because you might have covered already in the previous sessions. That's the reason. All right, so everything covered by OneLake. So now, what about the OneLake here? So Microsoft Fabric OneLake is basically the storage layer, whatever we do it on Fabric. Like what we have it for our regular files in OneDrive, Usually, we used to share our Word, PowerPoint files, and Excel files into OneDrive, and then we share it with different people in the organization. So, similar concept they have brought in here as a part of data. So you can have a data in one single place, and multiple people like data engineers, data scientists, and data analysts can able to access the same data without copying that. So that actually removes the silos on our data, and then we can have a single source of truth. That's really an important factor, and don't need to have a multiple storage as well. So one single thing can be used for multiple places. But this is the place where the security is main concern, because if multiple people are going to access the data, how we can secure that? So that's became a challenging part here. If it is a different environment, different size files and folders, then it may have a different issue. But here, keeping a one single source of truth, that's actually plays a vital role. So that's the reason we need to secure that. But before that, whenever we use OneLake, what it actually has. So OneLake actually has the lake houses. So what is a lake house is basically because lake house is combination of data lake and as well as the data warehouse here. So what does it mean? It means it has a capability of both the data lake, which is a scalable distributed file storage, and flexible schema and read-on semantics here. Plus, it has a big data technology compatibility as well. On top of that, it also has a data warehousing capabilities. Like it has a relational schema modeling. We can query our data using a regular SQL statements. And also it has a useful for reporting in Power BI analytics on that part. So that is a combination of these two, which has a powerful, that is called Lakehouse. So now when it comes to security on Microsoft Fabric, so there are like 5 high-level things which is always on, which is nothing but every interaction, whatever is happening between you and Fabric, everything is encrypted here. So whatever you're going to access anyway through your login itself. So that is actually one layer of security. And on top of that, whatever is being communicating happens here. It's all basically because of the Microsoft backbone internet here. And when the data is at rest, it's already encrypted for you. If you need to have a special security, then you can also use private links and as well as confidential conditional access for that. And also when it comes to compliance, yeah, Microsoft actually adopts to all the regular compliances, whatever we have it like HIPAA compliance or GDPR compliance, everything is also covered in that one. Because that is also an important factor. Every country has a separate compliance. It has to adopt to that one. And when it comes to governance, so it has comes with governance tools such as data lineage and information protection label and purview integration. So with the help of that, you can also get the governance capability in Fabric. And then it can configurable. So based on the company policy, we can also configure that. So it is not like whatever we have a country specific kind of thing. It's not like that. We can also configure based on our requirement, and then we can make the securities over there. And like Microsoft is keep on evolving. They are investing more and more on the Fabric side. So new things are coming up on a regular basis. So we need to have a keep in touch with Microsoft documentation and keep checking on the blogs in order to get aware of what is happening in this world. Now let's come on to the main topic here. So security architecture in Fabric OneLake. So basically, Fabric OneLake contains 3 layers of security here. One is the workspace level security, another is an item level security, and the third one is engine level security here, which is a granular level security. So we can control our access through a workspace level basically. So if you are not going to share the entire workspace, then you can share with the help of an item inside to that. And if you are not going to even do that, I mean, you need to do that, then only people can able to access that. And after that, you can also control the row level security as well as the column level security with the help of each and every engine. So this actually depends on each and everything, because when it comes to Power BI semantic model, you can control it by row level security. But when it comes to warehouse and lake houses, you can use a script in order to control that column level security as well as row level security, which I'm going to cover in this one. So let's assume that we have a company where it contains the data team here of that. So it is a data engineers, those who are going to consume data factory, data warehouse, and then real-time analytics. And then we have a data scientist, those who are going to consume the data science machine learning models. And then we have a data analyst, those who are going to consume the data warehouse, real-time analytics, and also Power BI. And then finally, we have a decision makers. They are going to consume only Power BI report and then Office 365 sheets. They want to analyze in Excel kind of thing. So based on this scenario, let's assume that we have a team, and I'm Adnan here, so I'm the tenant admin of this one. And then we have three different employees. So data engineer is Alex, and data analyst is Hazel, and then data decision maker is Pradeep. So there is no data scientist for now. Let's assume that. And then based on this, how we are going to share this with them and what access level they are going to come. So first of all, we'll talk about the workspace level as we have three layers of security. So we'll talk about the workspace level here. So when it comes to workspace level, I have just given a table here for easy understanding. And it's an Adnan, Alex, Hazel, and Pradeep. Whenever we share the workspace level permission to any user, so it's basically we have four different roles: admin, member, contributor, and viewer. That's the default thing which coming up same from the Power BI period. So now, whenever we share a kind of lake house, when you create a lake house in Microsoft Fabric, it actually creates three different items. One is the lake house, another is a semantic model, and the third one is the SQL analytics endpoints, right? So if you're going to share this with this kind of people, how they are going to access that. So whether it is possible for them or not, that's we're going to look into that. But here you can see we have a without RBAC, which is role-based access control. So this feature is still in preview, but they have introduced this one so that we can control the further level down in order to give access to the people. Now, when it comes to admin, so we have this capability as view or access. They can able to view this information into that environment, into their workspace, or they can able to access that itself. Now, being an admin is usually that's no need to mention, but still I'm mentioning it here. Admin can able to view and access the lakehouse. Admin can able to view and access the semantic model, and also they can able to view and access the SQL endpoints. Then what about the member here? Even member also has a higher capability, so they can also view and access three of the items within the workspace if you're directly sharing the workspace. Now, from the contributor side, if it's also possible, they can able to access and view three of the items in the workspace. Now, when it comes to viewer, this one, like Pradeep is a viewer access here. He can able to view this lakehouse inside to the workspace if we are directly sharing the workspace, but he cannot able to access the lakehouse here. Similarly, he cannot even able to see the semantic model of the Power BI. But even if he is not able to see, then he is not able to access that as well. Now, when it comes to SQL endpoint, he can able to see the SQL endpoint, and then he can able to access query something based on that. So that's the reason. So if you're going to share with this business analyst, like the Pradeep here in this case, you can also give the viewer access so that they can directly consume SQL endpoint and then query the data, whatever they want to look into the lakehouse. So this is kind of high level security where you can maintain on that. Now, when it comes to another option, which is with role-based access control. So I'm also going to show you how we can configure that in the next slide. So before do that, so let's assume what will happen on this scenario. So here as an admin, I can able to view, access everything, even with the role-based access control feature enabled. For admin, there is no issue. Let's have a look for the member. And even for member, there is no issue. They can able to view and access three of the items inside of the workspace. Now, when it comes to contributor, it's also the same. They can able to view and access because that's in higher level permission. Now, when it comes to Pradeep, here you can say the lakehouse is marked as yellow with the star symbol. It means access as per role-based access control assignment. So how we are going to assign to this one, he can able to access that lakehouse here. And also when it comes to semantic model, he cannot able to view and access the semantic model. But finally, the endpoint, which is the SQL endpoint, he can able to access that. The difference between these two here at the time of workspace access permission, there is no change for admin, member, and contributor. But for the viewer, without the role-based access control, he cannot able to access the lakehouse. Whereas with the role-based access control, based on our condition, Pradeep, I mean the viewer can able to view this lakehouse on the access the lakehouse on that part. So now, what is the role-based access control? So role-based access control is nothing but whenever you open a lakehouse, you need to be member, admin, member, or contributor of that particular workspace. Then only you can able to see this option. So when you open up this lakehouse, you will get this option: manage OneLake data access preview. So when you click on that, it's going to give you the pop-up window at the first time. Let's turn on this data access role preview. Yeah, this is in preview. So this is still in preview. We may not show whether this is going to be available in future or not. So that's the thing. You need to decide by yourself whether you want to need this feature or not. But by assume it's going to come in future. So you are about to turn on the OneLake data access role in this lakehouse. Using this capability, workspace admin, member, and contributor are permitted to change the data access permission at the folder level. So that's what is going to show up here. So OneLake, we are going to access that. So we are going to see this in role-based access by folder structure here. So by default, this is going to create a default reader as a kind of a role here. So this is going to inherit whatever the access permission which we have it on the workspace for all the user is going to take out that itself. If admin has this thing, then it's going to assign the higher capability of that. If there is a viewer, then it is going to just access the read option for that. Okay, here is the next slide. So where I have given the screenshot about how this will look like. The default assigned role, which is the default reader, this is comes to here as I have this assigned to this workspace. Like Adnan is basically the tenant admin, so he has an admin access, and Hazel is the contributor, and Alex is a member. This you can see it here on the screen. This is basically showing up here. Sorry. I was about to take the laser pointer. Okay, as you can see it here, it is going to show up the information read, write, read all, and reshare. So there are basically 5 things available on this access level. Read, which is we can able to read a particular object on that one. Like if you have a SQL tables, we have multiple tables. If you are assigning that one particular table or one particular folder, then you can able to access one particular folder itself. You're not able to access multiple folders on that one. When it comes to write, they can able to write that object, and then you reshare, they can able to reshare and execute. If they want to run any Apache query, Apache script, then they can also execute that. And read all means it's going to, they can able to access all these objects inside to that lakehouse. So that's the difference between read and read all here. So this is the default one, which is on the left hand side where it comes to here. By default, if it is a viewer, this is not going to add up here. You can add the information by adding a people name and then click on add. And then it's going to assign you only the read option for that particular user. As you can see it here on the second one, assign order 2021, which is an arrow here. So it actually gives the permission about, this is the manually created one. On the previous screen, as you can see, we have an option about new role. When you click on the new role, we need to define the name, and then we need to add the peoples accordingly here. So here, as we have a higher permission, so it's going to assign all of these things here. The difference between a member and contributor on this part is there is no reshare option for the contributor. So the member can able to reshare this, but the contributor cannot able to reshare the lakehouse. So that's the difference between a member and a contributor. And the viewer is basically they can have only the read and view output option. So this is the scenario where we have shared these 2 different lakehouses. What we have, one is the Fabric Security Lakehouse 01, another is Fabric Security Lakehouse with role-based access control 01. So when it comes to have this one, we have this option about, so Adnan workspace admin, and then Adnan is workspace member here. That's another user ID here. And then we have this workspace member for Alex, and Hazel is workspace contributor, and Pradeep is workspace viewer here. So these are all the default permission which it has given. So being a tenant admin, I have an additional option to see the view logs here, what is happening. But apart from that, the member, everything has the same access, read, write, read all, execute, and view output. But here the reshare is not available for Hazel. So similarly, also for the role-based access control, I have given this same logic, the same access permissions here. So this is how it's going to be for admin level access permission. I mean the workspace level share. Now we'll have a look into item level share here. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, I can take a questions now.
So, Mohammed, I don't see any question, but maybe I just myself jumped ahead for my question. I was just looking for, I know you talked about the permissions on workspace, but
Yeah.
you also mentioned about the lake house and folders and whatever that was there. And my question was basically that how does access control work for single or multiple files within a folder in lakehouse? But I guess it is going to be answered in this section.
Yeah, definitely. I will love to show you that.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for asking. Okay, so I will continue the session. If there is something comes in, then you can let me know on that part.
Sure.
All right. Thank you. All right. So now we'll look into item level share here. That's the second level of security what we have. So usually, when we don't have any kind of access permissions here, then what we usually do is basically we will share it through an item. So we'll go to the workspace and then we'll click on the share button, or we can open the lakehouse and then on the top right we have the share option. When you click on that, it's going to open up the window which is on the right hand side. So grant people access. So there are three different options which is added in the Fabric, which is read all SQL endpoint data, and then read all Apache Spark, and then build reports on the default semantic model. So three different options here. Let's assume that the same people what we have it here, and here as per the role which is has SQL, Apache, and then the build report. So that's what I defined here. Adnan is SQL, Apache for Alex, and Bill for Hazel, and there is no check. Only adding this Prateep onto this item. There is no check on this three item which is on the screen, and then I'm going to assign that. So what will happen if they are going to access these lake houses again, the same lake houses again? So first of all, we'll talk about without the role-based access control, and then we'll talk about the with role-based access control. So here, how we can view and access that. So being an SQL access, I can able to. So in this case, I'm not an admin here. It's just the permission directly sharing an item. See all these things, all these people, which is Adnan, Alex, Hazel, and Pradeep, which you have seen on the workspace level permission, like they are admin, tenant admin, and then they are a member, contributor, and viewer. So they don't have any access to the workspace now. So let's assume that. And now we are just sharing this information to this user. Adnan has a SQL permission, Alex has Apache notebook permission, and this one has a build permission, and Pradeep has a no check on that one. So we are directly sharing the item from the workspace to these users. So in that case, what will happen? So as only I have a SQL permissions, I can able to view this lakehouse, but I cannot able to access the lakehouse. But here, there is a checkpoint here, which I will talk about that in the later slide. So I cannot able to access the semantic model as well. If I only have a SQL permission, I can able to access the SQL endpoint here, because that's the reason. SQL endpoint is the ultimate aim, giving the access for that. If you want to share any information to the user that they can able to do the ad hoc query by themselves, then you can directly use this option. Just share this lakehouse to them and take out this option about SQL endpoint. Now, when it comes to Alex here, as he has access to the lakehouse and he's in access to the notebook access, so that he can run the Apache SQL, Apache script over there. So in that case, he can able to access the lakehouse directly and then connect to the notebook on that part, but he cannot able to access the semantic model on that. And also he cannot able to access the SQL endpoints here. So that's the two difference here. Now, when it comes to Hazel here, so as Hazel has only access to build permission, so that's the reason she cannot able to access the lakehouse, and also she cannot able to access the SQL endpoint. She can only able to access the build permission, which is for the semantic model, building a Power BI report on top of that. That's an ultimate aim. So if you have a three different people working on the different things, then you can directly share this one item from your workspace without assigning to the workspace level, just item level share, and then give the SQL, Apache, or notebook, and then the build permission. That's how it will look like. Now, what will happen to Prateep, as he doesn't have any checkbox tick on this one? In that case, he can able to view this lakehouse, but he cannot able to access the lakehouse. And also he cannot able to he can able to view this semantic model, but he cannot able to access the semantic model. Similarly, everything, basically he can able to see everything, but he cannot able to access anything here. So there is no point of sharing this information here, but that's how it will work. I have keep this option because there is an option available on the previous screen. So that's the reason we had to figure out how this will look like. Now, here there's a checkpoint here. When it comes to SQL and there's a star here, can see only tables but not folder. So basically, when you share this SQL option to any user, when you open up the lakehouse, you can able to view the lakehouse. And when you open up, usually what will happen, what is happening on the lakehouse, we have a folder section and then table section. So if it is SQL only access, then he can able to access the SQL, the table part, but he can able to access the folder options. That's the limitation here. That's perfectly aligned to the requirement here. Now, let's have a look into how this will look like with the role-based access control. If we are sharing this information with the role-based access thing, how this will look like. So here again, the same thing. Even there is no difference on the SQL access. It's everything the same what we have it with the role-based access control and without the role-based access control. Now, when it comes to Alex, which has a notebook permission, it's also the same thing. And also, when it comes to build permission, which is a hassle here, it depends here. So access as per the role-based access permission. So how we are going to access the role-based access permission, it depends on that part, and she can able to access those information here. I'm going to cover that how we can pick out these options in the practical term on that one. All right. So there is no difference between on the SQL endpoints. We can able to just build the Power BI report on top of that. Now, when it comes to there is no check here, I have just shared this lakehouse without any checkpoint, but I have defined something on the role-based access control. It means based on that role-based access control, I can able to access this information if there is no checkpoint here. In this case, for Pradeep, but if there is no option to build the report on top of that, so there is no option for him. As we are given the role-based access control, so that's the reason he can able to access the SQL endpoints as well. Now, before going into the granular level permission, so I'd like to share this information with the role-based access control. So I'd like to go to the previous screen what we have, which is how we can share this one. Yeah, this one. Now I'd like to stop this share and then reshare my whole screen. Yeah,
Mohammed,
can you please? Yeah.
sorry, before you jump in to that one, there is a question, from Nitilesh, the difference between view and access.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I will share my screen and then I will explain you that as well. Okay.
Okay, so let me know when you share it.
Okay, I just shared.
Cool. Yeah, here you go.
All right, thank you. So for that question, okay, let's assume that this is Pradeep and you can see it login here. I'm just refreshing it again. Okay, so let's go to the workspace here and you can see Pradeep has one workspace level access, which is demo one. So when you click on that, you can able to view all this information, which is the Fabric Security Lakehouse and Fabric Security Lakehouse role-based access control. This is what we are talking about since all the demo. So I can able to view this information. Now, when I want to click on this any information, whether I can able to access this or not. So I'm just opening now the Lakehouse. Let's see how it look like. You see, this is now the table section and it is loading the preview here and it's loading up here. I don't know why it's taking time, but usually it's fast. So he can able to access this one. So that's the difference between the view and access. He can able to view it on the workspace, but he can able to really access that information or not. That's the difference here. For example, if I want to create a report, you see Pradeep can able to access this information here, right? And if you look into this permission, what they actually have, if I go to this Adnan, which is the tenant admin here, and click on the manage access, I can see it here, Pradeep as a contributor. Okay, I can change this Pradeep as a viewer, and then you can see Hazel contributor, Alex is member on this part. So I just change here Pradeep to be viewer, and let's refresh it here. Actually, it has to be viewer. During this testing phase, I changed it to be contributor. Anyway, so if I again click here just to make sure, yeah, Pradeep is viewer now. So let's go back to Pradeep here. Let me close this one and then refresh again. So usually, even from the Power BI's time onwards, we were not able to create any Power BI report. So now if I click on this Lakehouse again, it is loading up the information. You see, this is still loading. It means he cannot able to access the Lakehouse itself. Okay, it is loading up here, but you can see it is only showing up here the folder section, but there is no table section enabled for it. So that's the difference here. He cannot able to access that particular part here. The way it is showing up here is because of the access what I have given up here. So, but basically the table section, he cannot able to access that information. So that's the difference between a view and access here. Okay, now when it comes to role-based access control, so how it can be done is basically when you click on this lake house. For example, this one, this is on the Pradeep side. So let me open up on my side here. I mean, on the tenant admin side. Then only I can able to give this.
Muhammad, I think there's a question that maybe can be
Yeah,
relevant to the thing that you are presenting
sure.
from the page. If Alex can run a notebook, he can access every table within the lakehouse, not having access to SQL endpoint. How will this restrict him? Maybe in the other slide that you showed that this guy is the Spark developer, right? On the
Yeah,
and creating the notebooks, and he only has access to, I think it was the other slide, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, this one.
Here, yeah, in the Apache, yeah. So he can have access, to the lake house itself, as it is there, and he has access to all tables, right? How we can restrict him on a single table? Maybe it is the question that Mitalish asks. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I will tell you that. Correct. That's a good point. So we can control that using this one role-based access control. So I have just opened up here. This is the tenant admin. I logged in here, and this is my sales table. And here you can see on the top we have a manage OneLake access here. When I click on this part, this is going to open up the window. That's one which I already cleared that. So I have already added multiple roles here. So you need to click here one of the role. For example, if I click here and I click on assign, and here you can see these options available for these members here. So let me create a new one itself just for clarity. So when I click on that, I need to define a role. So let me give it a name here, August 31. 24, and then here there's an option about all folders or the selected folder. So now when you click on this particular part, and here this is going to give you the list of available tables and folders for you. So here you can see on the top it is a table, and inside to that you can see there is a sales here. It is nothing but what you can see it on the left hand side on my screen, tables, and then we have a sales here. The same thing is showing up here. If you have a multiple table, then you can just click on one particular table and then give access to them. So it means they're going to access only one table, even with that role-based access control here. And that's what we are restricting for a particular user, for a particular item, and for a particular table on that part. And if you want to share also with these orders and sales the folder information, then they can able to click on these particular things, and then you need to assign the people for those things. You need to click on first save, and then you need to define these, assign this information to the people here. So now on the top, you can click on assign roles, and then you can define the peoples who you want to define that. By default, this is going to inherit whatever we have it on the workspace level permissions. As we have this workspace level, the same thing, the viewer member contributor. So that's why it is showing up here as a lakehouse permission here, which is it is taking up from your default thing. Now, if I, as you can see, there is no Pradeep here. Oh, it's Pradeep here. And still, if I want to add Pradeep here for this access, and then I just want to use the read options, and then it has given also the 5 users, and click on add, and it is now changing it into direct assignment. It means I'm manually assigning to that particular user, and then this are all it's actually inheriting from the workspace level permission what they have. So that's the two difference here. So now this is the question which I was asking, right? So we can also save and then use this information. This is all about this thing.
Yeah, maybe it answers Sumesh question. Can Pradeep access the files in files? So yeah, I think yeah,
Correct.
it answers, already answered.
Correct. All right. So do you have any questions or I can move on?
No more questions so far. You can just keep going. Thank you.
All right. So that's what we have showcased about the role-based access control and how they can able to access that. Now, as we have all this workspace level permission, and that's the reason we can able to access those information. Let me remove these people from the workspace for now, because as they have workspace level, so they have a higher access, so they can able to do anything. So let's remove Alex from this one, and also the Hazel, and also the Pradeep. All right, I've removed this one, and then I need to share this information to these people. So let's first of all have a look into Alex one. This is Alex website. I mean, Control F5. Okay, as you can see, I can able to still see the demo one because it may take a little bit, few seconds to minute in order to reflect the changes what we're doing up here. But usually it is fast. As you can see, the demo one is no more available here. So now I need to check what it is shared to me. So if I click on this one, OneLake Data Hub, I can able to access what is shared with me apart from the workspace level. So here I can see I have demo one. If I click on this workspace, this is basically the workspace list here. And from that, I can able to access all this information here. So Alex can able to access the SQL endpoint and also the lakehouse here. That's what is showing up on this part. Now, when I click on the lakehouse part and click on the open lakehouse, this is still loading up here. In the meantime, let's open up a new tab and then we can also look for the notebook level information here. Okay, Alex can able to view everything. And if I click on this one and also OneLake Data Hub and open up another one, which is with the role-based access control, the lakehouse one. Usually this is fast. Maybe I'm presenting that's not sure. It happens. Whenever you present something, it slows down things. Yeah, I can able to see all this information here. All right.
Uh,
So
Maybe,
yeah,
Mohammed, while we are waiting for this guy. Oh, it is already loaded. Yeah, there
yeah, it's
was a
loaded. Yeah,
question actually. Maybe it can
yeah,
be answered quickly.
yeah.
From Mithilesh, is it possible to use Azure Intra ID, actually Intra group for roles created in Fabric instead of specific individuals?
That is actually I'm going to tell you that in the last of this slide. But anyway, so usually for this demo purpose, I'm using single user. But as per the best practices, we had to use Entra ID itself. So you need to create an ID in Entra, and then you can assign this similar access to that. That is possible.
Awesome.
All right. So that's what I want to show you about the access. Now we'll have a look into granular level share permission here. So when it comes to row level access control, we can control it using two different things because Lakehouse and Power BI, we are aware that we can define row level access, row level security, and then it's going to apply that. But when it comes to Lakehouse, what we need to do is basically we need to create certain steps here. That's what it is written up on the screen. It is basically we are creating a separate schema so that it can have a separate segregations on the structure, and then we need to create a function which is a security.tvf security predicate. I'm just taking the email address as a part of that, and I'm binding this schema here and using this, running this script, and finally I'm assigning this function to the sales table. That's what the script is showing up here. You can also take this screenshot if you want. So that you need to define basically a schema, and then you are creating a function, and then you are assigning this function to a particular table, which is actually referring to the email address column on the sales table here. That's why it's showing up here email address and it is on the sales table. So when you do so, then people, those who have only the level of access, they can able to access only their data. So they cannot able to access the other data here. So now when it comes to Pradeep here, for example, if I open up for Pradeep, let me open up here. Yeah. So let's use this Pradeep here and SQL endpoints. I think it is shared through the other one. So let me open up there are two lake houses available. So that's the reason. Let me close this. Yeah, it is now cache clear. So opening up here OneLake Data Hub here. And then now I'm opening up here the other lake house, which is not showing up on this part because it is not shared to Pradeep. So let's go back to my login here, and then I'd like to share this information to Pradeep here. So I'm not taking anything here. So just clicking on the grant. So let's see how it looks like. In the meantime, let's have a look for Hazel, who has access to other, because it needs a little bit time. So that's the reason. All right, so Hazel has these two permissions. If I click on the SQL Analytics here and then use this query, this data, so she cannot able to access anything on this part. That's strange. Looks like I'm jumping here and there. Okay. Usually this has to remove because I removed every person. That's strange. The reflecting of the changes what I am doing, it's actually taking a bit more time when I usually do during my other sessions. All right, so here Pradeep can able to access this lake house here. That's what I shared to him. And if I click on this lake house, there is no other permission. It's just the share. If I click on the open this lake house, then what it gives the message. So as you can see, there is no access to the tables and there is no access to the files because I have not given any options to this one. And that's why it is showing up here unable to load files. Now, when I can change this to lakehouse to SQL endpoints, what is going to do that? You are loading your SQL Analytics endpoint metadata, but you can still query it. Yeah. As you can see, even though this has loaded the information schema and everything, but when I click on the sales, it's saying as unable to preview the data here. So now if I click on the SQL query one, which is showing up here, select star from DBO sales, which is the schema and then the table name, and click here and click on run. The message it gives here, the select permission was denied on the column, that's okay. And the select permission was denied on the column line number. So it has given there is no permission, that's why it is showing up here. Now if I select on all these things, the select permission was denied on the column. So there is no select permission option because I not tick out this SQL endpoint for Pradeep here. If I go back to this one and when I share this lakehouse and enable this read SQL endpoints and assign the same to Pradeep, now if I go back to Pradeep and then let's close this lakehouse and refresh the browser for the safety purpose. Okay, moving on to the OneLake Data Hub and click on demo. As you can see, this Fabric Security SQL endpoint is also showing up now. Previously, it was not there. And now if I click on open this data, so you can able to see this information and everything, whatever we are showing up here is showing up only for Pradeep here. It means it is actually applying this row level security on this particular part as well. Now, if I click on this query one, the same thing, if I click on this Debo sales star here, then this is also showing me information about all this for the Pradeep here. That's what we can able to give this permission, and then we can also assign this row level security here. This is basically giving access to a particular table. Make sure that you are taking this the required options, And then when you apply this row level access control, these functions and this thing is going to filter that for a particular user here. But the same thing as being a tenant admin, I have access to everything. If I try to access the same lake house, and then if I execute the same query, I can able to see all the access here. So if I just select this only part and then click on run, this is on my tenant admin login. Oh, this is still loading up, I think. That's strange. Oh, that's it. I got it. So the reason I got it here, the reason is because of this row level security is assigned only to the 3 users. As you can see it on my previous screen, which is showing up here, which is for Pradeep, Hazel, and Alex. And it is not assigned to me, even being a tenant admin here, it's not showing up here. That's really good thing. Being a tenant admin, I cannot able to see this information on this particular thing here. That's cool. So moving on to the next one, which is basically this column level access control. So if you want to have a column level security on the lakehouse part, then what you can do is you can just run this script on an admin side, which is deny select on Fabric lakehouse, which is sales table. And then you need to define the column name where you want to restrict that. For example, the employee, you can restrict this salary payroll column, or else you want to specify hide any kind of unit price, product price, you can also specify that. And then you need to mention this username here. Here in your case, if you want to assign to an enter ID group itself, you can also define that enter ID group. But the thing is, this information needs to be available on your database. So then only it's going to correlate that, and then based on the login, it's going to work on that part. Now, when it comes to limitations and latency of the OneLake role-based access control, what are these are? So maximum number of OneLake role-based access control roles per Fabric item you can create is 250. You cannot create more than that. And maximum number of role member per access is for per single access role is can be 500 users here, and user groups per role, right? And maximum number of permissions per OneLake access role is 500 permissions you can assign to that. Now, there are also certain limitations here. So if you change a OneLake role-based access control definition, it takes about 5 minutes for OneLake to apply the updated definition here. That's why it's taking time for me to change here and there. But if you change the user group in the OneLake access control group, it takes about an hour for OneLake to apply the roles permission on the updated user group here. So you need to make sure about that. So the external data sharing preview link, which is incompatible with this option, you cannot able to use that option here. And if you provide item permission or remove users who previously had permissions, permission propagation can take up to 2 hours here. So accessing and removing can take at least 1 or 2 hours for that. So if you're connecting a shortcut, like you can connect to your other data sources, external data sources, if you want to do so, then it's going to apply the same access here. Because usually when you connect to your external data source shortcut, it's going to come under your files and folder section. So it's going to apply the same logic, the role-based access control, you can tick that options, or you can also hide that option here. So user access recommendation, that's the thing here. So limit workspace access to the collaborators. So use viewer role and grant read on a specific object for read only thing here. Those who doesn't require any kind of update kind of thing, like they don't want to use Apache Notebook, unless and until you can avoid that and just give access to an item level, not the entire workspace level permission for them. Like I said, so the general thumb rule is you need to share it using enter ID, not through a single specific user. So for the best, that's the recommendation here. And these are some of the references where we can refer. I can also share this information to Mohammed, and then they can also share it with you.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome, Mohammed. Thank you very much. That was a fantastic, really, presentation. There are two questions here that maybe can be answered now. Johnny, can we apply this permission restrictions to portions of the file, or is it just better to have multiple files instead?
Okay, so as you can
My question as well.
Correct. So if I go back to this one, which is the lake house here, you can able to control at the folder level. So if I click here, manage access role, and okay, this is the new thing. Uh, Anyway, I'm just doing the demo here. Okay, if you click on the role here and then select its folder. So if you have a folders in multiple different, like here we have orders 2019, 2020, 2021. I can also expand, I can also give the folder level. So if you want to give separate inside to the file itself, that is not possible. The thing is, you need to split this file into two different folders, and then you can assign the different folders to the user.
Yeah. But maybe the question from Johnny was row level or column level
Security.
the
Yeah.
security within a file that I don't think it is going to be feasible. And
Yeah.
yeah, and you have to just bring it in to the table and then apply
Yeah.
your securities, of course.
Yeah.
Or at least Johnny, you just already wrote the solution here, that maybe you can just have multiple files, and based on the security that you are looking for, you can just
Yeah.
separate your files based on, for example, the department or whatever that you are considering for the security. It can be
Yeah.
added there. And also yeah, and if someone wants to look at the whole data, of course they're going to have access to the whole data. As you can see in here, we have the orders of different years, 2019, 2020, and 2021. And let's say each department is responsible for 1 year, and it can be just used in that case. I hope you got your answer, Johnny. Another question from Sumesh. Is there any role which can bypass all role level securities? Such a role will be helpful for data quality or engineering team for troubleshooting.
So basically, you need to have higher access on the workspace level, or you need to define without role-based access control. Even if you are doing with the role-based access control, yes, you need to check out this option. I mean, select all the tables, select all the files, and you need to define that a particular role name, like all access kind of thing. And then you can save this one. So it cannot be space. Okay. So save this one and then assign to that particular people.
That makes sense. Yeah. If a user,
And sorry, to add on to that, so if you even don't want to have a restrictions on the row level security and column level security, then you can just grant the permission. It's the regular SQL statement what we usually have. You can use the grant permission to the particular table. Then this will not going to apply the row level security for that particular group.
cool, awesome. And another question from Sumesh: will using the intra roles counter the limitation of at most 500 users?
Yeah. Yeah, correct. At most 500 users and user groups per role. So
User
500
group.
user group you can add, or 500 single users.
Okay, cool, cool. Any more question, guys? If not, we can move forward to the most amazing section, which is
Yeah.
the riddles, and let's see how
So
attendees.
is it my screen is still shared?
Yes, 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 it is
Okay.
there. It is there, and I'm just monitoring for if there is any question on LinkedIn or somewhere, because there is always a delay between
Yeah.
platforms. But if there's nothing, yeah, we can go ahead and yeah. So before answering the
Yeah.
question, the winners will be the one today for who answers the most most of the riddles. I know you've got several riddles, but let's see.
Okay.
So the
So
first
the first one.
riddle,
Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
Okay. So the first one is, I'm not alive, but I can grow. I don't have a mouth, but I can be told. I'm not a book, but I can be read. So what am I?
Uh, Pavel
Usually, how
said
much time do you give? 10 seconds,
Paul said
15 seconds.
notebook.
Let's see how what's the answer on that. So do you want to give like 10 seconds on this part or how it is?
Uh, I guess let's just wait a bit more because as I mentioned,
Yeah,
Mitalesh
delay.
also said notebook. So we have Wishwa from LinkedIn, which is member. The answer. Sumesh says it is mind.
Okay.
Any more answer?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can go ahead with the answer, Mohammed.
Yeah. All right. The answer is data.
Data. Data.
Data is not
Oh,
alive,
it's
but it
right.
can grow. Yeah, right.
Let's go for the
I'm not
first
able,
next
but I
one.
can. Okay. The next one is invisible to the eye, yet vital to see. I watch over your data silently, logging every move in Fabric's domain. What am I protecting you from digital pain?
Invisible to the eye, yet vital to see. I watch
Yeah.
over your data silently, logging every move in Fabric's domain. What am I? Protecting you from digital pain. Oh, nice. I think there was there is a answer, Sumesh Purview
Hmm.
and Mitalesh Security.
Hmm. Interesting. So it can be, I mean, people cannot able to predict it exactly, but it is somewhat near, then we can say that that's the nearest one.
Adrian says luck. Vishwa says admin. Pavel says kind of mirroring.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can
I think
I reveal
there's
the
all
answer?
the answers. Yeah, we can go with the answer now. Audit logs. So maybe we can go with Adrian for this one.
Yeah.
Well done,
Correct.
Adrian. Yeah,
Well done.
go for the next one.
Okay. I protect your data both in rest and in flight. My walls are strong. My locks are tight. In Microsoft Fabric, I stand guard with pride. What am I? Where your secrets reside.
What an amazing one. I protect your data both in rest and in flight. Pavel says, firewall.
Mhm. Okay.
Next, I'm just monitoring both,
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's yeah,
I'm looking for answers, right, guys?
yeah, exactly.
Mirjam says encryption.
Mhm.
Uh, Adrian also encryption. Sumesh security data encryption. No, encryption is one of the common answers.
Yeah. Okay.
Vishwa says OneLake, and Mithilesh says network security. What else? What else? I guess we can go with the answer now.
Encryption.
Also, oh,
I
encryption.
think
So,
three of them has
who,
given the
who
right
did say
answer.
who did say the encryption for the first time? Mirjam. Yeah, I have
Okay.
Mirjam here, but I also have Adrian. For from LinkedIn. I was just
Okay,
watching them. It was at the same time. So
that's
please
good.
give to Sumesh. Yeah, why not? Mirjam was one of actually yeah, one of our I think winners previously.
Okay, that's great actually. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I thought about five, but it's three itself. Yeah, maybe a slide. Yeah, the slide is changed. Okay, can we go with the fourth one?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
I live in the cloud, yet I'm not rain. I store your secrets without a strain, accessible from near or far. What am I? That's always on par. This must be an easy one.
At the end of that, like, was a poem, right?
Exactly. Rain,
Accessible
strain, far
from
and
near
far.
or far. But always on par. Sumesh says storage. And also Mirjam says Key Vault. Mithilesh says Key Vault. I'm not receiving any more. Let me check. Let me check. Cool, guys. I think we can go with the answer for this one as well. Cloud
Yes.
storage. Storage. Who said the storage? Sumesh.
Well done.
Well done. Well done. Oh, Vishwa. So you were a bit late here. Vault storage. Cool. And also
Yes.
Adrian just mentioned Delta Vault.
Okay.
Cool. Let's go for the last
Last
riddle,
one.
but not the
Okay. I'm
least.
not a log. I'm not a log, but I keep things tight. Only with the right code, I shine a light. Without me, your data is at risk. What am I? A digital freeze. Right. Right.
That's interesting, guys. I'm not a lock. Come on, guys. Answers, answers. Last one. Let's check it out. Answer?
Hmm?
I don't see any answer here.
Oh, just a delay.
Okay, if there is nothing, we
Yeah,
can.
that's the
There's
password.
somebody. Adrian says encryption.
I remember the
Oh,
password.
Sumesh says key password.
Yeah, that's correct.
So,
Okay.
with that said, I think we have two winners, right? Here, from
Yeah.
the answers that I think it is very clear for most of us. Sumesh, of course, and Adrian are our winners. Thank you very much for your participation. And yeah, yeah, clap for them. And Mohammed, thank you very much for the amazing session. Really, that was engaging. I learned a lot from myself. Actually, it is an interesting topic about the security. And the guys, if of course, yeah, that the October will be the security awareness month. And yeah, what it's gonna be a good thing that we can just reshare in October, and we talk about the security and being aware of all of these stuff, which is really important in the uh, you know organizations, of course. And
Hmm.
Microsoft Fabric is helping us with these features here. Thank you very much, Mohammed, for your amazing session again and the riddles. And for those winners, Adrian and Sumesh, just contact the LinkedIn page of Microsoft Fabric Cafe, or reach me out in the Microsoft Fabric Cafe learning room, and share your emails, and we will just forward the vouchers for you. And just keep in mind, when you pass the exam, just mention
Yeah.
Muhammad, myself, and
Great.
Microsoft Fabric Cafe. Just let's celebrate it together, and let's grow together. Muhammad, if you want to add something, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you for organizing these amazing things, because people are sharing their knowledge here, and it's good to know for other people this who can learn from the time. And thank you so much for asking these kind of questions during the sessions. It helped me a lot in order to reskill myself. And congratulations to the winners of this one. And last but not least, again, have a nice weekend on this part.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Muhammad, and let's have a good one. Just let me just share something here quickly. So we are done with the August sessions. We have four other amazing sessions in September. Mark your calendars, register for them. The registration link are already announced actually in our
Mm.
link page and in the learning room. And yeah, and just follow us on YouTube. For if you joined late or you want to rewatch this amazing session, you can just watch that on YouTube channel. It is going to be available immediately after this live session. And you can just follow us on LinkedIn, and there you'll have the latest updates from Fabric and our community. And also, we will just see you in the learning room. We can just chat more in details. So yeah, until the next Fabric Coffee session, the next week with another dear speaker. Take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cheers.
Thank you.